least 670 people are now feared dead from landslides in the PNG highlands, with UN officials estimating more than 150 houses are buried under the rubble. More than 1,000 survivors are being evacuated from nearby communities, with the terrain around the disaster zone in Enga province remaining both dangerous and unstable.
Locals were digging with shovels, sticks and their bare hands to find people buried beneath earth and rock as international aid organisations and government agencies joined the search. For more on the situation, we're joined by the ABC's Belinda Kora, who's in the capital, Port Moresby. Belinda, good morning to you. What's the latest?
Good morning. From the weekend up until now, we were able to find out from on ground that at least 4 more bodies were actually pulled out from the rubble and the debris, and one is now seeking serious medical attention from the hospital nearby. No updates as yet on official death toll from the local authorities, including the provincial government as yet, as many others from outside, including NGOs and, of course, donor partners, trying at this stage, including the UN, who have been on ground since yesterday, are now trying to grasp what has happened on ground and also trying to ensure that they are actually able to kickstart their assessment of what has happened in the last couple of days.
Belinda, give us a sense of just how challenging this situation is.
At this stage, and what we were able to collect from over the weekend, is that the risk factors still remain high, especially at this time where they're actually having little shock waves at this time and also mudslides at the same time, while trying to retrieve bodies of family members and clan members around the area. This also poses a threat for those who are also trying to get to the area. Not only is the main highway closed, getting there and ensuring that they're also taking care of themselves while helping those on ground is also a major challenge.
How deep is the rubble that they're trying to get through? And we're looking at pictures while you've been speaking of them using the shovels and their bare hands to try and reach survivors.
It's been very tough for locals there, especially with not having no equipment, especially heavy machinery in the area, carrying or transporting these heavy machinery there to assist the locals, who are now using garden tools to actually try and retrieve bodies or even survivors, which is something that is something that is sought after at this time. Has been a big challenge, and they're hoping that help, including some machinery, can be able to go on ground and on site by today.
All right, Belinda, thanks for the update on it all.
Two people, including a 12-year-old girl, have died after a multi-vehicle crash in Sydney's southwest. Reporter Jessica Rendell joins us from Sydney. Jess, good morning. What do we know about this incident?
Good morning, Michael. Well, I'm coming to you live from outside Westmead Hospital at the moment, where 2 survivors of that fatal crash are currently recovering. They were brought here last night after the vehicle that they were travelling in, which police believe was a ride-share vehicle, collided with a ute on Milperra Road at around 7:40 p.m. last night. Now, when emergency services arrived on the scene, they found that ride-share car had rolled and that the passengers were trapped inside that car. A 41-year-old man and a 12-year-old girl died at the scene, and a 10-year-old boy, who was another passenger of that car, along with the 52-year-old driver, were brought here to Westmead Hospital, where we understand they are being treated for serious injuries, but they are now in a stable condition. As for the driver of that ute, he was a 19-year-old man. He suffered minor injuries, but was also taken to hospital for mandatory testing. Now, the Crash Investigation Unit are looking into this. They've opened an investigation, and they're calling for anyone who might have been driving along Milperra Road last night between the hours of 6, 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock to come forward with any dash cam vision that they might have, or if they witnessed the incident themselves, to offer up that information to Crime Stoppers as investigators try to piece together just what happened, Michael.
Jess, thank you.
In other news, 12 people have been injured during turbulence on a flight from Qatar to Ireland. Dublin Airport says the flight landed safely on schedule. Passengers have told local media the turbulence lasted about 20 seconds and happened while food was being served.
Plane just seemed to go stop, which it didn't, but then dropped. quite a severe drop, and it was a little bit worrying each time we felt turbulence again. I was hanging on a bit tight to my husband.
Palestinian medics say an Israeli strike has killed at least 22 people in an area of Rafah that has been designated for the displaced. A number of others are reported trapped in the flaming debris. The strike comes 2 days after the International Court of Justice ordered Israel to end its military offensive in Rafah. Israel's military is claiming it carried out a precise strike on a Hamas compound in Rafah, but that it was reviewing the incident following reports that civilians were harmed.
Mayday, Mac Yankee Whiskey, engine problem.
The Australian Transport Safety Bureau is investigating a light plane's emergency landing at Sydney's Bankstown Airport. The Cessna 210 appears to just miss the roof of a building at the end of the runway, and the plane then skids across a taxiway before tipping onto its wing on the grass. The 2 people on board, thankfully, walked away unscathed.
A man is recovering in hospital this morning after being winched to safety in the Royal National Park south of Sydney. The man told paramedics he'd fallen into the ocean on Saturday before managing to climb out and clambering back up onto the ledge, where he stayed overnight. He was taken to hospital with mild hypothermia and minor scratches.
Meanwhile, a hiker has been airlifted to hospital after spending the night stuck on Mount Barney in Queensland's scenic rim. A 44-year-old man fell a short distance down an embankment, dislocating his shoulder.
And thousands of Parisians have dined out on the world-famous Champs-Élysées for a giant free picnic. Local traders created the event to remind locals the boulevard, once known as the most beautiful avenue in the world, isn't just for high-end tourists. Hundreds of thousands applied to take part in Le Grand Picnic, with the select few munching on baguettes made by local chefs on a 200-metre long tablecloth.